My girlfriend texted, I told my parents you're a doctor. Don't correct them at Thanksgiving. I'm a paramedic. At dinner, her mom asked about my practice. I smiled and said, I work on an ambulance, saving lives before they reach doctors. Her father shook my hand and said, That's even more heroic. Her face when her lie backfired. I, 31 male, am a paramedic. Full-time, 911 system, 24-hour shifts. I've been doing this for 8 years. Started as an EMT at 22, got my paramedic certification at 24, and I've been running calls ever since. Cardiac arrests, car wrecks, overdoses, pediatric emergencies, the whole spectrum of the worst days of people's lives. I make $62,000 a year base, plus overtime, which puts me around $71,000 in a good year. Not rich, not struggling. Solidly middle class for a guy with no college degree. I love my job. I need that to be clear because it's the foundation of everything that happened. I love the work. I love the adrenaline and the problem solving and the 15 seconds you get to make a decision that determines whether someone's grandma sees another Christmas. I love my crew. I love the dark humor that keeps us functional. I love showing up to the worst moment of someone's life and being the thing that makes it marginally less terrible. What I don't love is people's reaction when I tell them what I do. It always goes one of two ways. Either they get this wide-eyed, almost reverent look and say, wow, I could never do that, which is nice but exhausting. Or they get this slight pause, this micro-expression of recalibration, like they're adjusting their expectations downward. Like I just told them, I'm the assistant manager at a vape shop. You can literally watch people revise their mental model of you in real time. My girlfriend was the second type. We'd been together about 10 months. She works in pharmaceutical sales, decent company, good territory, pulls in about $95,000 with commission. She drives a leased Audi. She wears designer stuff. Not flashy designer, but the kind where if you know, you know. She comes from a family where appearances matter. Her dad is a retired hospital administrator. Her mom was a nurse practitioner who stopped working 10 years ago. Her older sister married a cardiologist. Her younger brother is in law school. The family vibe is credentials matter. Title matters. What you do matters less than what you can put on a business card. My girlfriend liked me. I know she did. She liked my humor, my confidence, the fact that I'm calm in chaos and don't stress about stupid stuff. She liked my arms. I'll be honest, 24-hour shifts and hauling people on stretchers will give you forearms. She liked the stories. First responder stories are great at dinner parties. People lean in. It's currency. But she didn't like telling people I was a paramedic. I noticed it about 4 months in. We'd be at a restaurant with her friends, and someone would ask what I do. Before I could answer, she'd jump in. He's in emergency medicine. Not wrong, technically, but deliberately vague. Designed to let people assume something fancier. One time, at a work event of hers, a colleague asked me directly, So you're in emergency medicine? Are you an ER doc? Before I could answer, my girlfriend squeezed my hand, hard, and said, He works in pre-hospital care. The colleague nodded like that clarified anything and moved on. In the car afterward, I said, You can just tell people I'm a paramedic. She said, I know, but pre-hospital care sounds more professional. Paramedic IS professional. You know what I mean? I didn't know what she meant, and I let it go, because I'm not someone who fights over labels. My patients don't care about my title when I'm the one keeping them alive in the back of a truck doing 90. I figured she'd grow out of it. She didn't grow out of it. About 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, she told me her parents had invited us for the holiday. Big family dinner. Her sister and the cardiologist would be there. Her brother, an aunt and uncle, grandparents, the whole production. This would be the first time I was meeting most of them. I'd only met her parents briefly once at a restaurant, and the conversation had stayed surface level. I was nervous, but up for it. Meeting the family is a big step. I wanted to make a good impression. Then, 2 days before Thanksgiving, I got a text from her while I was on shift. I was in the ambulance bay restocking cabinets. My phone buzzed. Hey, so quick thing. I told my parents you're a doctor. Emergency medicine doctor. Don't correct them at Thanksgiving, okay? It's just easier and they'll be more comfortable. Love you. Smiling face with hearts. I read it twice. Set the phone down. Restocked 3 more cabinets. Pick the phone back up. You told your parents I'm a doctor. Emergency medicine doctor. Which is basically what you do anyway. It is fundamentally not what I do. Doctors go to medical school for 8 years. I went to paramedic school for 14 months. Nobody's going to quiz you. Just don't correct them, and it'll be fine. You want me to lie to your family. It's not lying. It's just not correcting an assumption. An assumption you created. Can you please not make this a thing? My sister's husband is a cardiologist. My brother's going to be a lawyer. I just want my parents to feel good about us. They should feel good about us because we're good together, not because of a fake credential. You're being difficult. I didn't respond. I had a call come in. Chest pain, 68-year-old male. I intubated him in his living room while his wife watched. He coded in the truck. I got him back. We delivered him to the ER with a pulse. That's what I do. And someone thought it needed a better title. I didn't bring it up again before Thanksgiving. She took my silence as compliance. That was her first mistake. Her parents' house was nice. Suburban, well-kept, the kind of place that has a dining room that only gets used 4 times a year. Her mom had the whole setup, cloth napkins, good china, a centerpiece that probably came from Pottery Barn. Turkey was beautiful. I brought 2 bottles of wine, a red and a white, both decent, $30 range. I know how to show up. Introductions went fine. Handshakes. Her dad was firm grip, look you in the eye, seemed like a solid guy. Her mom was warm, but evaluating. Her sister was polite. The cardiologist brother-in-law was nice enough, a little stiff, but you don't become a cardiologist by being the life of the party. Her brother was quiet, probably stressed about finals. We sat down. Turkey got carved. Sides got passed. Small talk flowed. Then about 20 minutes into dinner, her mom turned to me and said it. So, tell us about your practice. Are you a hospital or private? The table was half listening. My girlfriend, sitting next to me, went rigid. I could feel her. Energy shift, that specific tension of someone bracing for impact. I had a choice. I could play along, nod vaguely, say hospital-based, and let the assumption carry the evening. Nobody would check. Nobody would know. The dinner would be smooth. My girlfriend would be happy. The family would nod approvingly and pass the cranberry sauce. Or I could be who I am. I smiled, and I said, clear and friendly, I actually work on an ambulance. I'm a paramedic. I save lives before they ever reach the doctors. The table paused. Not a dramatic, everyone drops their fork pause. Just a slight recalibration. The same one I've seen 100 times. My girlfriend made a small sound. Not a word. Just a breath. Like someone stepped on her foot under the table. Her mom said, oh, I didn't realize, I thought. That's okay. It's a common mix-up. I looked at my girlfriend when I said that. She did not look at me. Her dad set his fork down. He leaned forward slightly. Paramedic. 24-hour shifts. Yes, sir. 2 days on, 4 days off. 911 system. What kind of calls do you run? And here's where things shifted in a direction nobody, least of all my girlfriend, expected. I told him. Not war stories, not bragging, just honest answers to honest questions. Cardiac arrests, trauma, pediatric emergencies. I told him about the equipment we carry, the medications we push, the decisions we make in under a minute with incomplete information and no backup. Her dad listened. I mean listened. Elbows on the table, food forgotten. He asked follow-up questions, good ones, smart ones. The kind of questions a retired hospital administrator would ask because he actually understood the system. Then he said something that landed like a brick. I ran a hospital for 22 years. You know who I respected most in the entire chain of care? The paramedics. Because they do what the ER docs do, but in the back of a moving vehicle with no imaging, no lab, and no one to consult. And they make 60 grand a year. He stood up at the Thanksgiving table mid-meal, reached across and shook my hand. That's even more heroic than what she told us, he said. He didn't say more heroic than a doctor. He said more heroic than what she told us. He knew. He'd clocked the lie, and he was publicly correcting the record while shaking my hand. My girlfriend's face went through every stage of grief simultaneously. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, all at once, compressed into about 3 seconds of absolute silence while her father stood across from her holding my hand and her entire family watched. Her sister, the one married to the cardiologist, said, "My husband says paramedics are the most underappreciated part of the healthcare system." The cardiologist nodded and added, "Some of the saves that come in, we just finish what you started." Her brother said, "That's actually really cool." Her mom said, "Well, we're just glad you're here." The rest of dinner was the best Thanksgiving conversation I've had in years. Her dad asked me about protocols, about the opioid crisis, about what I see on the street. Her mom asked about the emotional toll and whether I'd considered counseling, not in a judgmental way, in a genuinely caring way. The cardiologist and I talked about STEMI protocols and field-to-cath lab times. For the first time in 10 months, I was just myself. No rebranding. No euphemisms. Just a paramedic eating turkey with people who seem to genuinely respect what that means. My girlfriend barely spoke for the rest of the meal. On the drive home, she was silent for about 15 minutes. Then she said, "You humiliated me. I told the truth. I told you not to correct them. And I decided not to lie to your family on the first real holiday we spent together. It wasn't a lie. It was a simplification. You told them I was a doctor. I'm not a doctor. That's a lie. My dad made a scene. Your dad shook my hand and said my job was heroic. That's not a scene. That's a compliment. Because he was trying to embarrass me. He was trying to acknowledge me. The fact that it embarrassed you is a you problem." She didn't speak again until we got home. When we walked inside, she said, "I need some space tonight." She went to the bedroom and closed the door. I slept on the couch, watched the Cowboys game on my phone. They lost. Par for the course. Update 1. The aftermath and the campaign, 10 days later. So the fallout from Thanksgiving didn't stop at the dinner table. Not even close. Over the next few days, my girlfriend's attitude didn't soften, it calcified. She wasn't embarrassed in front of me anymore. She was angry at me. The narrative had fully shifted in her head. I'd sabotaged her. I'd deliberately undermined her in front of her family. I was the villain. Day 2 after Thanksgiving, she said, "You know what your problem is? You have no ambition. You're fine being a paramedic forever. You don't want more. I like my job. You like your job. Great. I like chocolate cake. That doesn't mean I eat it for every meal. That analogy doesn't work on any level. You should go to medical school, or PA school, or something. You're smart enough. You just don't apply yourself. I'm 31. I'm not going to medical school. Then at least get a different title. Clinical something. Director of Field Operations. Anything that sounds better than paramedic. My title is paramedic because I'm a paramedic. I'm not rebranding my career so you can feel better at dinner parties." She huffed, left the room. We didn't talk for the rest of the day, but it got worse. She started a quiet campaign, not against me directly, but against my career. Subtle stuff at first. She'd leave her laptop open with PA school admission requirements on the screen. She'd accidentally forward me job listings for hospital administration roles. She bought me a book called something like Transitioning from Clinical to Leadership and left it on my nightstand like it was casual reading material. I said, "I'm not reading this." She said, "I just thought it might give you ideas. My idea is to keep doing the job I'm good at and love." How's that for an idea? Then she went to her parents, the people who'd been nothing but kind to me, and tried to rewrite Thanksgiving. She told her mom that I'd made things awkward by oversharing work stories and that her dad had put her in an uncomfortable position. She told her sister that I was defensive about his job and couldn't take a joke. Her sister didn't buy it. I know because her sister texted me directly, which had never happened before. The text said, "Hey, just wanted you to know that my parents really like you. My dad hasn't stopped talking about the ambulance stuff since Thursday. Don't let my sister's insecurity make you feel bad about what you do." I replied, "Thank you. That means a lot." Her sister said, "Also, my husband says you're welcome to visit the cath lab anytime. He wants to show you what happens after your handoffs." That text hit different. The cardiologist, the guy who'd gone through 4 years of undergrad for years of med school, 3 years of residency, and 3 years of fellowship, wanted to show me his work. Because he respected the work I do. While my girlfriend was leaving PA school brochures on my nightstand. Then my girlfriend pulled the move that pushed me over the edge. About a week after Thanksgiving, I was at work. 24-hour shift. We'd run 16 calls by midnight. Brutal day. Pediatric asthma, 2 car accidents, a fall from a ladder, a stroke, the usual parade. I was exhausted. I checked my phone during a break and had a text from her. I told my friend group that you're applying to PA school. They're all really excited for you. Congrats, babe. Party popper. She was making up career milestones now. First I was a doctor. Now I was applying to PA school. She was building a fictional version of me and distributing it to anyone who'd listen. I texted back, I am not applying to PA school. Correct this. It's not a big deal. Just play along for now, and maybe you'll actually get motivated to do it. I'm not playing along with anything. Tell them the truth, or I will. God, you are exhausting. I set my phone down. A call came in. Overdose, found unresponsive. I pushed Narcan, bagged the patient, got a pulse back. Saved someone's life at 1:47 a.m. while my girlfriend was group texting her friends about my fake PA school applications. The next morning, when I got home from shift, I sat her down. We need to talk about what's happening here. What's happening is you're being dramatic about a text. What's happening is you've lied about my career to your parents, you've lied about my career to your friends, and you're actively trying to pressure me into changing my job because you're ashamed of what I do. I'm not ashamed. I just think you could do better. Better than saving lives. Better financially. Better title-wise. Better in the ways that matter. The ways that matter to you. To anyone. Do you think I want to tell people in my company events that my boyfriend drives an ambulance? I don't drive the ambulance. I'm in the back, keeping people alive. And yeah, I do think you should be able to say that without cringing. Well, I can't. Okay, I can't. My sister married a cardiologist. My brother's going to be a lawyer. And I'm dating a guy who makes $62,000 and comes home smelling like antiseptic. There it was. The real thing. Not about ambition. Not about potential. About status. About the family scoreboard. About what she could claim at the next holiday dinner. I stood up. I think we should break up. Update 2. The breakup and her father's call, 2 weeks later. She didn't take it well. You're breaking up with me over a text? I'm breaking up with you because you're fundamentally ashamed of who I am, and you've been lying about me to everyone you know. I have not been lying. You told your parents I was a doctor. You told your friends I'm applying to PA school. You introduced me as being in emergency medicine because the word paramedic embarrasses you. That's lying. It's framing. Call it whatever you want. I'm done being your PR project. She cried. She apologized, sort of the kind of apology that's actually a restatement of the offense. I'm sorry you're too sensitive to see that I was trying to help you. I packed an overnight bag and went to my buddy's place. He's a firefighter on my department, shares the same station. I sat on his couch and told him the whole story. He laughed at the PA school text, then got serious and said, "Brother, you pulled a kid out of VTACH last month. You don't need validation from someone who thinks your job needs a better title." Over the next week, the breakup played out the way breakups do when one person thinks they can still win. She texted daily, not apologizing, strategizing. She'd send messages like, "I've been thinking, and I think the real issue is that we have different communication styles." Or, "Maybe if you got involved in the administrative side of EMS, you'd feel more confident at social events." She was still trying to fix me instead of accepting me. I responded to none of it. Then she called her mom and told her we'd broken up. She framed it, of course, as me being too proud to grow. Her mom, apparently, accepted this version, but her dad didn't. Her dad called me on a Tuesday evening. I was on the couch in my own apartment. I told her she could stay at my place for a week while she figured out her situation, and I'd stay at my buddy's. Generous? Maybe. Stupid? Possibly. But I wasn't going to throw her out on the street just because she was a snob. Her dad said, "I heard you two ended things." "Yes, sir." She told her mother it was because you refused to improve yourself. "Is that accurate?" "No, sir. It's because she's been lying about my career to your family and her friends and pressuring me to change jobs because she's embarrassed that I'm a paramedic." Long pause. Then he said, "She told us you were a doctor." "I know. She texted me before Thanksgiving and asked me to play along." "And you didn't?" "No, sir. I told the truth." Another pause. "I want you to know something. After you left Thanksgiving dinner, I told my wife that you were the most genuine person either of my daughters has brought home. I meant that. I run a hospital. I've watched ER docs crack under half the pressure you handle in a shift. What you do matters. Thank you, sir. That means more than you know. I'm going to talk to my daughter. Not because I think it'll change anything. She's stubborn in the wrong ways. But because she needs to hear from someone in this family that what she did was wrong. I appreciate that. But it won't change my decision. I'm not asking you to change it. I'm telling you it was the right one. That phone call meant more to me than the 10 months I'd spent with his daughter. My girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, moved out of my apartment by the end of the week. She took her stuff, left the key on the counter, also left a note that said, "I hope you find someone who doesn't want better for you." I read that note and thought, she still doesn't get it. She thinks wanting me to be different is the same as wanting better for me. It's not. It never was. She tried one last thing before she fully exited my life. She told a mutual friend, a woman we both knew from a group of couples that used to do dinner together, that I'd blindsided her with the breakup and that she suspected there was someone else. The classic redirect. Can't admit the real reason, so invent a juicier one. The mutual friend called me. She's saying you cheated. I didn't cheat. I broke up with her because she lied about my job to her family and spent months trying to pressure me into a different career. That's specific. Because it's true, the mutual friend went back to my ex with my version. I don't know what happened in that conversation, but the cheating rumor died within 48 hours. I think the truth was embarrassing enough that even my ex preferred silence over having to defend. I told everyone he was a doctor. Update 3, where it's settled for weeks later. Final update. Gonna keep this clean. The breakup is done. No more texts. No more mutual friend intermediaries. She unfollowed me on everything. I didn't unfollow her. I just muted. Petty? Maybe. But there's something about not giving someone the satisfaction of seeing you cut the cord. Her family, interestingly, didn't fully side with her. Her sister sent me one final text about 2 weeks after the breakup. My parents are really upset with her. Not with you. My dad literally brought you up at dinner last week as the paramedic who had more integrity than most administrators I've worked with. She left the table. That made me feel something I didn't expect. Sadness. Not for the relationship, for her. Because she had a family that would have accepted me. Her dad respected me. Her sister liked me. The cardiologist treated me as an equal. She had every ingredient for a good situation, and she sabotaged it because paramedic didn't look right on the family scorecard. Her dad texted me once more about a week after his daughter moved out. Short message. If you ever need a reference for anything, professional, personal, you call me. You're a good man. I saved that text. It's still on my phone. The financial fallout was minimal, which is the one upside of a 10-month relationship where you kept finances separate. She'd been paying me $600 per month for her share of utilities and groceries while she lived at my place. She was current. Never missed a payment, credit where it's due. When she moved out, we settled up clean. No debts, no shared assets, no drama on the money front. The apartment felt empty for about a week. Not because I missed her specifically, just because 14 months of cohabitation, 10 at her old place, 4 at mine, leaves a sensory residue. Her shampoo smell lingered in the bathroom. I found a hair tie behind the couch cushion. There was a container of that fancy Greek yogurt she liked in the fridge. I ate the yogurt. Throughout the hair tie, the shampoo smell faded on its own. I went back to work. That's what I always do. Work is the constant. Work doesn't care about your relationship status or your feelings or whether someone respects your title. Work just needs you to show up, make good decisions under pressure, and bring people back alive. My first shift after the breakup, I ran a call for a 19-year-old who'd wrapped his car around a utility pole. Entrapped. Significant bleeding. Fire had to cut the door off. I crawled into the wreckage, started in 4, managed his airway, and kept him talking for 22 minutes while they cut him out. He was scared. He kept saying, "Am I going to die?" I kept saying, "Not tonight, man. Not on my shift." He lived. I saw the follow-up report, discharged from the trauma center 11 days later. Walking, talking, alive. That's what a paramedic does. Not a doctor, not a PA, not a director of field operations or whatever rebranded nonsense my ex wanted on a business card. A paramedic, 62,000 a year in a uniform that smells like antiseptic, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My crew, 3 other medics and 6 EMTs that I work with in rotation, knew something was off after the breakup. They didn't pry. First responders don't pry. They just adjust. My partner on the truck brought me a coffee one morning without being asked. The station captain scheduled me for a training day instead of the street when he noticed I was dragging. My buddy, the firefighter I'd stayed with, just kept showing up his chute pool in my garage on off days. Nobody asked me to talk about it. They just made sure I knew they were there. That's my family, the one my ex couldn't see the value in. I'm not dating, not because I'm damaged or jaded, because I'm recalibrating what I'm willing to accept. The next person who sits across from me at a dinner table and gets asked what I do, I need that person to say he's a paramedic with the same energy they'd say he's a surgeon. Not because the jobs are equivalent in training or pay, but because the person saying it sees me clearly and isn't interested in editing the picture. I ran into her dad at a hardware store about a week ago. Total coincidence. He was buying mulch. I was buying electrical tape and zip ties for the station. We talked for about 10 minutes. He asked about work. I told him about a cardiac arrest saved from the week before. He listened the same way he'd listened at Thanksgiving, fully, with real interest. When we parted, he shook my hand again. Same grip, same eye contact, and he said, "You're still the most impressive young man my daughter ever brought home." That won't change. I sat in my truck in the parking lot for a few minutes after that. Not crying, just sitting with it. Because sometimes the people who see you most clearly aren't the people you're in a relationship with. Sometimes it's their father standing in a hardware store aisle, holding a bag of mulch, telling you that what you do matters. I went back to the station, checked my rig, restocked the drug box, tested the cardiac monitor, laid down in the bunk room. The tones dropped at 2:14 a.m. Chest pain, 61-year-old female. I was out the door in 90 seconds. That's the job, and I love it exactly as it is.